everyone, my name's Emily and this is my channel, Love Eats. Welcome. So today we're going to be making some game day Super Bowl themed party snacks and appetizers. I've been making a lot of food. We're going to start off with some chicken parm sliders, some pepperolis, pigs in a blanket, a whole sheet pan of barbecue chicken nachos, and my favorite, honey buffalo hot wings. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the chicken parm sliders. I'm gonna be using, this is probably like 1.5 pounds of sliced chicken breasts. You can obviously make more if you're serving more people. And I'm gonna be breading them in an Italian and panko breadcrumbs. And so I'm also gonna be using some flour and eggs to bread it with. And I'm gonna be seasoning all of that. So I'm gonna be using pepper, Italian seasoning, some Creole, and then I'm gonna be using smoked paprika, and onion and garlic powder. And then for the actual sliders themselves, I'm gonna be using my favorite, King's Hawaiian slider roll buns. And then I'm gonna be using provolone cheese as the cheese. And then so for the chicken, which I already washed, I'm gonna be slicing this up a little bit thinner because if you see how big these rolls are, they're very, very small. So you can kind of pre-measure them before you cut it. I've already, have an idea of how big I'm gonna make it. I'm probably gonna be cutting them into about this size, this thickness. And then depending upon how many you're gonna make, I think I'm gonna be making about, what is that, 9? Okay, so I finished cutting it up. So they don't all have to be exactly the same size and shape, but you just make sure that they're all around the same thickness because you don't want some pieces to be undercooked. Okay, so now I'm setting up the breading station for the chicken. So in one bowl I have flour, which I'm going to season. I'm going in with that Creole. And with some pepper. And the Italian seasoning. Now the smoked paprika. This is so hard to get out. Now I'm going to go in with the onion and garlic powder. Don't be scared to season it. It's just flour. Don't got no taste. Okay, so now I cracked some eggs in here. I used about 3. It really doesn't matter as long as you are just able to coat it with all the chicken. Just get up. And then in the third bowl, because it's gonna go flour, eggs, and then breadcrumbs. Now, obviously you can just use panko or Italian. I like the texture you get from using both. Honestly, I like the Italian a little bit better just because the flavor of it. But that panko does give it a good crunch. Once you feel like you have enough, just incorporate them. I'm probably gonna add a little bit more seasoning in there. Probably just some paprika and some garlic. And once you feel like you got everything properly mixed, we're gonna get ready to bread it. Okay, so we're gonna start off with our first piece of chicken. We're gonna get it in our seasoned flour. Make sure that no part of it is still wet. We're getting in every crease. All right. And once it's all properly coated, we're gonna go into the eggs. I'm leaving one dry hand in case, I need to do some. All right, and then once that is properly in the egg, I'm gonna actually spoon the breadcrumbs over the chicken to help it properly incorporate. Now don't be too gentle with it. You gotta press the breadcrumbs in there to really get them to stick. And since I'm going to be putting it in the air fryer. You can, of course, put it in an actual fryer or in the oven. Still going to taste delicious. I just prefer the air fryer. And so once you have your piece properly coated, we're gonna set it to the side and we're gonna finish with the rest of the pieces. All right, y'all, so I finally finished all my pieces, and if you hear that sound, it's my air fryer heating up right now. But I evenly coated them all. And like I said, as long as they're the same thickness, you're gonna be fine. So let's get them loaded up into the air fryer. All right, so I'm gonna spray a layer of coconut oil down in the air fryer. And I'm gonna lay the pieces pretty, give them some space. Don't overcrowd it for sure, but I'll probably be able to fit them all in here. All right, y'all, so now that I got them in there, I'm gonna let them go for about 10 to 12 minutes. I might flip them. We're just trying to achieve that golden brown color. And it's the same if you do it in the oven or the actual fryer. So we'll check back in once they're done. All right, y'all, so I am 8 minutes in right now, and I am going to flip them. And I'm gonna let them keep going. Honestly, I think they only really need about 4 more minutes. So like I said, probably around the 12-minute mark, those keep going. And so while those are cooking, we're gonna get started on our chicken wings. All right, y'all, so right here I have about 2.5 pounds of washed and dried chicken wings, party wings. I usually honestly buy the whole wing and cut up the ligament by myself. But today I just made it a little bit easier on myself and bought them already pre-cut. So now what I'm gonna do is create the marinade. All right, so now I have my chicken wings in the bowl, and I'm gonna add my marinade to it. So I'm gonna add my seasoning. I'm gonna go in with some Creole. And then I'm gonna use black pepper and lemon pepper. I'm gonna go on with the lemon pepper. Only a little bit. I'm not trying to go for lemon pepper wings. I just like that lemony flavor a little bit. Go with a little bit more pepper. And I'm going to go in with my smoked paprika. And onion powder, garlic powder. Now, I'm also going to add, I have some of this barbecue seasoning. It's kind of a dry rub. You can really use whatever you have. If you don't want to add any barbecue seasoning, that is perfectly fine. So that is for the dry rub part of it. I'm also going to add some brown sugar. I use light brown sugar. Not too much, about a spoonful. Maybe a little more. Because I'm also going to go in with not too much, but a little bit of honey. Now, we're also going to have some honey in our sauce, so I'm not going to add too much. I'm going to go in with my favorite hot sauce, Louisiana hot sauce. This is going to be the marinade part of it. Now, don't be afraid of making it too hot, because this is really just going to cook off. The real heat is just going to come from the sauce itself, so don't be too scared. So once that is pretty thoroughly combined, I'm going to set that to the side while the chicken parmesan is finishing up, so it can just kind of absorb that flavor a little bit. Alright, y'all, so they did end up finishing around the 12-minute mark, and as you can see, all golden crispy. Alright, so I'm going to put these aside until I'm ready to finish assembling the chicken parmesan. Alright, and so with the hot wings, you can really let them marinate for as much time as you have. If you have 10 minutes, if you have an hour, the more time the better. So I'm actually going to grill these in my air fryer. It does have a grill attachment to it, but I prefer grilling them outside. It's just too cold. You can of course also put them in your oven or in the actual fryer. Alright, so I put them all in my air fryer, made sure to grease the bottom again. And I made sure not to overcrowd them. I'm probably going to have to do 2 batches. And so on the top, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit more of that barbecue dry rub seasoning. And once you like how they are looking, like I said, I'm gonna cook them at 500 degrees for about 10 minutes and flipping them halfway through. So let's see when they're done. All right, y'all, so while the chicken wings are cooking, we are gonna start on the pigs in the blanket and the pepperolis. And if you don't know what pepperolis are, it's okay, you're gonna find out. So for the pepperolis, we are gonna be using the croissant rounds. And then for the pigs in a blanket, we're gonna be using the regular croissants. And for the meat, for the pigs in the blanket, obviously smokies. And then pepperoni for the pepperolis. And then we're gonna be using an egg for the egg wash. And then just some cheese to sprinkle on top. You can really use any cheese, I'm using an Italian blend. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so I'm gonna start off with a greased baking sheet. I am using coconut oil. You're gonna use whatever. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the croissant round dough first for the pepperolis. And so you're gonna separate it and they come like this. And on the package it says to not unroll it. But obviously we're not just eating regular rounds, so we are gonna unroll it gently until it's pretty much a long strip. All right, y'all, and I'm so sorry I forgot to mention, but you will also need marinara. So I'm gonna start off, once I unraveled it, I'm going to take the marinara and I'm going to spread it, not too much, but generously, because it will spill out the sides and make a mess. All right, and once it is evenly spread out across the dough, I'm gonna take the pepperoni. Now you can really use as much pepperoni as you like. I like a lot of pepperoni, so I'm probably gonna fold one in half. And you're just gonna start layering it down the dough. So probably gonna use about 4 or 5 in this. It can stay flat. I think about 5 will work. And then I'm just gonna start rolling it back up just how it was before we unrolled it. Make sure they stay together, because they will be difficult. All right. Once you have it rolled up just like that, we're gonna put it back on the baking sheet. And then we're gonna go in with the next one just like that. If it is a little bit hard to roll, just kind of maneuver. It's okay. The egg wash will also help them stick together. All right, y'all, and then with the regular croissant dough, I'm going to open it and I'm going to separate it. Now, they do already pre-come in triangles. As you can see, this one's a little messed up already. All right, so obviously you can see they're pretty big triangles. So I'm honestly gonna split it into like thirds. That's what that is. And so that way, not only are we utilizing less of the dough, it's really all you see we're gonna need. And just like that. And you can really fold it up however way you like, just so it fully wraps around each smoky. All right, y'all, so now once I have all of my pepperolis and pigs in a blanket laid out on the cookie tray, I basically whisked up just 1 egg, nothing too crazy, and I'm going to gently brush over the pigs in the blanket and the pepperolis with this egg wash. Now, not only will this help it get that nice golden brown color, it helps it stick together. It's everything we're trying to do. So now that everything has been covered in the egg wash, I'm going to go back over the pepperolis with a little bit of the Italian cheese. All right, and I'm gonna put these in my oven. I'm really just trying to get that golden brown color. Might need a little bit more. All right, y'all, and my chicken wings came out the air fryer and they look delicious and they smell even better. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set these aside, and then right whenever I'm ready to serve them, that's when I'm gonna put them in the sauce. All right, y'all, and while we're waiting for the food to come out of the oven and the chicken wings to cool down, we're gonna get to making the chicken sliders. So I'm taking the whole sheet of the Hawaiian rolls. And if you wanna use the Hawaiian rolls, but you don't have the buns where you at, you can just take the regular rolls and just stick a knife through them and cut them in half. So, take these, and I'm gonna take our chicken parm breasts back, and I'm gonna start aligning them onto all the sandwiches. Ooh. Now, if some are overlapping, that's okay. It's still gonna be good. Just try to get them to fit as best as you can. If you really wanted to be perfect about it, you could have measured the chicken with the bun before you did it. And then I'm gonna go in with my favorite marinara sauce. Of course, you can always make your own store-bought. It's whatever you wanna do. And I'm going to put down a layer. On the top of the bread, I'm gonna put kind of a garlic butter sauce on it to give it a little bit more flavor. But you can really just add it however much you want. I'm not gonna drown them in it. Now I did do this layer before the cheese. So I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the cheese down. I can get it open. I used about 5 slices of cheese, doesn't really matter, use however much as you got. And I'm gonna go back over on top of the cheese with the rest of the sauce. Okay. And so for the bread, I'm gonna basically just be putting garlic butter on it. I didn't want to put it on the bottom because I didn't want the top to be too soft, the bottom to get too soft from the weight of the chicken and the cheese and the marinara. So it's just a simple garlic butter. I am just spreading that along the tops of the bread. I don't know if you can see that. Alright, and once I have the butter all evenly along it, I'm just going to put the tops back on the chicken. And now I'm gonna put this in my oven along with the pepperonis and the pigs in a blanket. Let's also do about 15 minutes on these, 375. We're not trying to cook it. Obviously the chicken's already cooked. We're just trying to melt everything. Might just be 10 minutes. I'll update y'all when it's done. Alright y'all, so now I'm gonna be making the sauce for the honey buffalo hot wings. So for that, I'm gonna be using, this is about realistically, you know, it's probably 1/4 of a cup. And then I'm gonna go in with Louisiana hot sauce. And I'm also gonna be going in with, this is my favorite barbecue sauce right here, the hickory and brown sugar. Now we aren't making a barbecue sauce, but it definitely has like a barbecue undertone to it. A little bit more. I would say about, honestly, a 1-to-1 ratio with the hot sauce. If you like it a little hotter, you can do a little bit more. And I'm gonna be doing about a half a teaspoon of honey to a full teaspoon. And then I'm gonna mix it all together. Now obviously the butter is still clumpy. I'm just going to heat it to melt the rest of the butter. All right, y'all, so now that the butter is completely melted, I have all the ingredients combined in there. The best way to describe it, it's honestly just like a sweet heat type of sauce, because it has that sweetness from the honey and the barbecue sauce, and then the Louisiana really just, it gives it that kick. Of course, you can also add some seasoning or anything else to it if you guys like, but I like it just how it is. And so now I'm honestly just gonna do it in this bowl. I'm gonna be taking the chicken wings, putting them in the sauce. You might have to do this in batches depending upon the size of your bowl. Okay. All right, and so now you're just gonna cover the bowl and shake it. You can really do this any way you want. Put it in a bowl and stir it. I'm just gonna shake my sauce around. All right, y'all, and now that the wings are evenly sauced, we're going to plate them for your guest. So, y'all, these smell so good. I don't know about y'all, but with regular buffalo wings, they're good, but something about this flavor really just kicks it up that notch, and just like, these aren't gonna taste like anything you've ever had before, I promise you. All right, y'all, and these look so stunning. Oh my gosh, I am so ready to eat pretty much all of these, honestly. All right, y'all, the chicken parm is out of the oven. Ooh, they look good, they smell good. I am ready to cut into these, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Ooh. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to eat these. Now, honestly, if y'all don't want to share them with your party guests, I completely understand if you want to eat them all. Perfectly okay by me. Oof. Yeah, no, these look so good. I am so ready to eat these. All right, y'all. So they have come out the oven. Now, so I cooked them at 375 for about, so the pepperolis, they took about 20 minutes, and the sausage, pigs in a blanket, they took about 25. And you are more than welcome to put butter or extra cheese on the pepperolis, but y'all, they look so good. Oh my goodness, these are too cute. Oh my gosh. All right, y'all, so last but certainly not least, we are gonna be making the barbecue chicken nachos. So for that, I'm gonna go in with my favorite rotisserie chicken. You can obviously use any type of chicken you like. And so we're gonna be making homemade queso. So for that, I'm gonna be using queso fresco, some white American cheese slices, and Monterey Jack cheese. And I'm also gonna be using this bag of spicy Mexican blend just for, you know, topping it off with all the queso. And then I'm gonna be also using some evaporated milk for the queso as well. I'm gonna be using traditional refried beans. You can obviously make your own beans, but you know, this is for a Super Bowl party. We're trying to be quick on time. I'm using a can of Rotel tomatoes. I'm using a couple of these chipotle chili peppers. And for the barbecue aspect of the chicken, we are going to be using the hickory brown sugar barbecue. And so these two, we're going to be using that for the chicken. And then my favorite, all right, y'all, so Taco Bell hot sauce. I usually use the mild. You know what? This is going to give it a little bit of kick. It's going to be delicious. And I also usually always make homemade tortilla chips, which are by far superior. I'm just going to be using a bag of regular chips today. Like I said, short on time, trying to get out for a lot of people. All right, so let's get into it. All right, y'all, so I have the rotisserie chicken right here. I'm pretty much just gonna take out all the good parts, I'm gonna use the breast. You can obviously use the legs of the chicken as well, but I'm just probably gonna use the breast of it. I think that'll be enough. And honestly, y'all, with a rotisserie chicken, all of it can go to use. So you can even use the thighs and the breast for really anything Chinese food. And even the bones, you could break it down to make a chicken stock with some soup or a broth. And once you feel like you got enough of it off, I pretty much cleaned a majority of, I don't know if y'all can see that, majority of all the breasts off. I'm pretty much now just breaking up the larger pieces of chicken breasts. You want to make sure that you don't have any bones. You can leave a little bit of skin in there. It's really up to you. And once you feel like you shredded it enough, got some good pieces in there. So first, before we add the seasoning, I'm going to add of avocado oil. We are going to be adding the barbecue sauce and the chipotle pepper to this, but I just don't want the chicken to be dry. Help the seasoning stick onto it a little bit. It's probably about half a tablespoon of oil. I'm going to go in with some Creole. Y'all can't even see that. I'm adding now just regular chili powder. Next, I'm going to go in with some cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, it's a genetic mutation actually for it to taste like soap. So if people say that they don't like cilantro, don't think that they're crazy. Some people really do taste soap. I'm going to go in with some garlic powder. Some onion powder. Some smoked paprika. And then lastly, I'm gonna go in with just some cumin. Ooh, if it'll come out. Come on now, cumin. Okay. And I'm just gonna mix that. And you know what? I think from the wings, I'm gonna add the same barbecue rub that I added. Not a lot, because there we go, just a little bit. Okay. You know, I want to add a little bit more avocado oil, because like I said, that seasoning can really, you got a lot of it, it does dry it out. And I want this chicken, since it's rotisserie chicken, it does get pretty dry since it's already cooked. So you definitely want to add that moisture back in there, because the chicken will be dry since it's already cooked, because we're going to put it in the oven to warm up all the nachos together. And that is what it's looking like right now. Okay, so next I am going to take this chipotle pepper and adobo sauce. Really, any chipotle pepper will do. I'm going to probably put 2. Let's see how that works in my food processor. You can really chop it up or whatever, but I'm gonna make the sauce in my food processor. So, okay, so now that I have the food processor, I'm gonna add a little bit more avocado oil. Probably about, it's probably about 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons. And then the chipotle powder, or the chipotle pepper. These aren't really like full peppers. I guess that's 1 right there. Gonna add another one. And then I want to get some of that juice in there. The adobo juice. So it'll come out now. You know what? I'll just add. Scrape the sides. I'm gonna add another one in there. So right now, 3 peppers. And these don't really have a lot of heat at all. They're really just kind of sweet. They got a little bit of heat, but nothing crazy. And then I have the same barbecue sauce, the hickory smoked brown sugar. And we are gonna pretty much add, this is one of the small bottles. This only has 18 ounces, probably a good amount. Probably over half the bottle. Might even use the rest of it because I used most of it for the wings. So we're probably just gonna use the rest of it. A little bit left. Let's see. I'm gonna add a little bit of garlic powder as well. Ooh, already coming off the sides. It smells so good. That chipotle pepper is really just elevating the sauce. You could really just use barbecue sauce, but alright. Let's stir it around a little bit and see. And always taste your food, y'all, to know if you need to add more seasoning, more something, because there always could be something missing. That chipotle pepper really made it so good. I think I'm gonna add another one, honestly, because the barbecue sauce is still pretty taking power over it. Got a good one right there. That was like, I think I added a little bit of half of one, but it'll be good. And y'all, I almost forgot because as you can see, I'm almost out. I'm gonna add some black pepper to the rest of the chicken. Not a lot, you know, good amount. Okay. All right, y'all, and so that is what that sauce is looking like. It is not hot at all. It just got a little bit of that kick to it, the barbecue sauce, because that adds a lot of sweetness. All right, and so we are gonna set the chicken, and we're going to pour the sauce, as you can see, into the chicken. Y'all, this smells so good. Like this all together combined with the Taco Bell sauce and the homemade queso I'm gonna make, trust, this, your party guests aren't gonna have had any nachos like this before. You don't want it to be dry, for sure. Add probably about that much more. Okay. Now we are gonna let this sit aside to basically marinate, and we're gonna work on the queso and the beans. Now we're over at the stove top. I'm gonna be working on the queso first. So we're gonna heat kind of a large saucepan bowl. I'm gonna fill it with a cup of water. Not too hot, but we're gonna bring that to a boil. And so while we have that cup of water bringing to a boil, we might as well work on the beans in the other pan. All right, and once I drain the can, I'm gonna heat up the second pan, or pot, and I'm gonna add a little bit of avocado oil. Splash. And I'm going to add and we're just gonna let this heat. We're gonna add some stuff to it, but first want to get it a little warmed up. This is actually about starting to boil, so I'm taking a heat-proof, I'm using glass bowl. I'm gonna place it over the pot while the water is boiling. And next, I'm going to add, where's my cheese at? Okay. So, the 3 cheeses I'm going to be using in the queso. And so you can also use whole milk in this queso. I'm going to be using evaporated milk. I just like it a little bit better. It makes it a little bit thicker. And I'm going to be adding about half a cup. About right there. There you go. Now I'm going to turn the heat down on this as well as the beans. Because like I said, the beans aren't cold. They just came out of the pantry. I'll let those sit for a minute. You can shred it for easier melting, but I'm just going to pretty much chop up a block of this Monterey Jack cheese. I'm going to be adding the queso fresco. Now then the last cheese we're going to add to this is, I'm going to use about 10 to 12 slices of this white American cheese. Now you can use regular American cheese. I wanted to keep that white color, so we're just going to be adding the white version. So I finished adding the 10th cheese slice. Now I'm going to go to the refried beans in the back, and I'm going to season that. I'm going to add some of the Creole seasoning that we've all been familiar with. I'm going to be using some black pepper. I'm using some regular chili powder. You also definitely add chipotle chili powder if you have it. And then a dash of onion powder and a dash of garlic powder. Okay, so now that is pretty much just going to rest until I am done with the queso. And after this is finished melting, we're going to be ready to assemble our nachos. Once it is melted enough, then we're going to add some chopped jalapeno and a little bit of our seasoning. Okay, also added about 2 tablespoons of chopped jalapeno. I'm going to stir that in. And then I'm going to add some garlic powder to it. Alright y'all, I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper to this as well. If you have white pepper, for sure use that. It'll look more aesthetically pleasing, but... Alright y'all, so we're going to take the chips and do a layer down. And then we're gonna go in with our chicken. And we're pretty much just gonna spread this evenly along the pan. So once we have a good layer of our chicken spread out, we're gonna go in with the beans. We're gonna go in with our queso. Of our chips. And then a last layer with our chicken. We are gonna go in with our Taco Bell hot sauce. Top it off with the rest of our bag of cheese. We have our nice layer of cheese. We're gonna put this in the oven at 400 degrees for about, say 10 minutes, just so that the top layer of the cheese melts and everything warms. Alright y'all, so everything is out the oven and ready for your guests to enjoy. I am so excited to dig in. This smells so good. If you want to share it with your party guests, you can. I'm probably just going to eat it all by myself. And so before you dig in, obviously you're going to bless over the food. Thank you, Lord, for this food. And just let me know if y'all made any of this food in the comments below. Thank you for watching one of the first of many of Emily's Love Eats cooking videos. Comment down below, let me know what y'all thought, if you have any cooking suggestions for the next video. Alright y'all, thanks for watching.